Index of notable clips, headlines, and references being shared across the community, organized for quick browsing. Use it to spot patterns, pull links, and build your own research list. Qnotables.com. Browse the notables, verify the facts, stay informed.
All reports can be found on
Q Research from the Q Research Board's January 14th,
from the
2020.
Q Research Boards.
Don'tDeleteMeBro.com. Don't delete me, bro.
All reports can be found on Q Research or Qnotables.com. Notables do not equal endorsements. We are researchers who deal in open source information, reasoned argument, and dank memes. We do battle in the sphere of ideas and ideas only. We neither need nor condone the use of force in our work here.
From the Q Research Boards. January 14th, 2026, protesters gather outside a Minneapolis hotel where ICE agents are believed to be staying, chanting against deportations and federal immigration raids. The demonstration comes as enforcement operations ramp up nationwide, putting pressure on local officials and raising tensions between activists and federal authorities. Silver markets are on fire, as reports claim the metal has surged past $90 an ounce, a level unimaginable just a few years ago. The move signals investor panic over inflation, currency debasement, and global instability as traders scramble into hard assets and away from paper promises. Dr. Jan Halper-Hayes is back in the spotlight with a new interview, discussing election integrity, intelligence operations, and what she sees as a long game playing out behind the scenes. Her commentary continues to energize Trump supporters who believe there is far more going on than the media admits. Former Trump advisor Stephen Miller is defending ICE, saying the agency has a flawless track record deporting criminal non-citizens under strict legal procedures. He argues that critics ignore the victims of illegal alien crime and that strong interior enforcement is essential to national security. Trump administration officials are issuing a sharp warning to Australian Prime Minister Anthony Albanese over sweeping new hate speech plans. They argue the legislation risks criminalizing political dissent, silencing conservatives, and turning Western democracies into speech-policed states. Populist voices are reviving the cry of no more bailouts, as concerns grow over fragile banks, rising rates, and hidden losses. Commentators insist taxpayers must not be forced again to rescue reckless institutions, demanding that Wall Street absorb its own risks instead of socializing the damage. Analysts are revisiting Trump versus Davos, framing the former president as the chief political opponent of the globalist agenda. They say his trade wars, border controls, and attacks on climate mandates directly threatened the unelected elite who gather each year in Switzerland to steer world policy. Elon Musk is once again making headlines with a bold longevity claim, talking openly about pushing human lifespans toward 120 years and beyond. He points to rapid advances in AI, gene therapy, and regenerative medicine, arguing that today's young adults may see aging treated like a disease. A Russian-flagged tanker reportedly seized by U.S. authorities has been spotted near the United Kingdom, drawing new attention to maritime enforcement. The incident highlights the reach of sanctions, as Washington targets ships tied to hostile regimes and illicit energy flows on the high seas. Lawmakers and watchdogs are questioning how $5.8 billion in rental assistance was handled, demanding answers on waste and potential fraud. With inflation crushing renters and landlords alike, critics say every mismanaged dollar is proof that bureaucrats can't be trusted with massive relief programs. Senator Marco Rubio announces that the United States is designating the Lebanese, Egyptian, and Jordanian branches of the Muslim Brotherhood as terrorist organizations. The move targets financial networks and political fronts linked to Islamist extremism and is expected to trigger fierce diplomatic reactions across the region. Cope Files Live is covering what it calls Minnesota meltdowns as Trump waves bye-bye to Somalis in a clip that's gone viral. The program highlights growing tensions around immigration enforcement, refugee communities, and the political divide in the Twin Cities. The North American Aerospace Defense Command will conduct Exercise Falcon Virgo in the National Capital Region, a late-night live fly drill to test air defense responses to potential threats. Fighters and support aircraft will fly low and fast over Washington, sharpening NORAD's ability to detect and intercept suspicious aircraft. Online commentators are asking a provocative question. If the U.S. took Greenland and got kicked out of NATO, would Washington save tens of billions and bring 80,000 troops home? The hypothetical reflects growing frustration with European free-riding and the cost of defending nations that often undermine American interests. Conservatives are calling the Supreme Court rigged, arguing that election fraud resulted in an illegitimate appointment of Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson. They are openly demanding her removal from the bench, saying the court cannot deliver true justice if its own membership is tainted by a stolen election. Temporary protected status for Somali nationals has now ended, and those covered are being told to depart the United States by March 17th or face by CE enforcement. The policy marks a hard line on what was meant to be temporary relief, not a permanent backdoor to residency. Commentators say Democrats have shredded America's moral fabric in less than 30 years, pointing to the fact that the Supreme Court now has to decide the legal meaning of boy and girl. They argue that basic biological reality is under assault, and that the left has dragged the country into open madness. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. is telling audiences that Dr. Mehmet Oz reviewed Donald Trump's medical records and found the highest testosterone level he has ever seen in a man over 70. The story, if accurate, will only fuel Trump's image as an unusually energetic and aggressive political figure for his age. Plane spotters are raising eyebrows over a mysterious aircraft that is not showing up on ADS-B tracking sites. The absence from public radar feeds sparks speculation about military activity, covert flights, or new stealth capabilities that allow certain aircraft to slip past civilian tracking networks. A Venezuelan military intelligence general now sitting in a New York prison has reportedly written a letter claiming that businessman Patrick Byrne was right all along about Smartmatic systems being alterable. If true, the testimony would lend new weight to long-dismissed concerns about foreign-linked election software.
At shop.isawaya.com, everything you buy supports Qnotables, the place where people talk freely no matter what. Check out our Qn Honey Pot, a jar of yummy honey that's as strong as your voice. Put it on toast or in tea. It's not just honey, it's freedom in every bite. Then there's Qn Butter, a smooth handmade skin cream that makes you feel good while you fight for what's right. Awesome wood and pieces for display only. Hang them up or set them out. They're for showing off Qn's tough spirit. Want to help even more? Get a proto membership. So go to shop.isawaya.com now and grab some goodies. Help Qnotables keep free speech alive, and let's keep the ideas flowing loud and free.
All reports can be found on Q Research or Qnotables.com. Notables do not equal endorsements. We are researchers who deal in open source information, reasoned argument, and dank memes. We do battle in the sphere of ideas and ideas only. We neither need nor condone the use of force in our work here.
From the Q Research Board's January 14, 2025. Reports from Iran say thousands have been slaughtered in the regime's crackdown, including famed director Javad Ganji. Exiled Crown Prince Reza Pahlavi warns the death toll from recent protests could be multiple times the lives lost on 9/11, underscoring the brutality of the Islamic Republic's response. General Michael Flynn is openly hoping the Clintons are finally held accountable, asking whether they truly believe they are untouchable. His comments tap into long-standing anger over scandals, investigations, and what many see as a two-tiered justice system protecting powerful Democrats. President Trump is urging Iranian patriots to keep protesting and to take over their institutions if possible. He calls on citizens to name and expose killers and abusers inside the regime, signaling strong rhetorical support for an internal revolution against the mullahs. Left-wing activists are organizing a nationwide ICE Watch and community defense effort on January 14th. They say they'll monitor federal immigration activity, warn communities, and try to block what they view as unjust deportations, setting up a potential clash with federal law enforcement. Scott Adams, creator of the Dilbert comic strip and a sharp corporate satirist turned conservative commentator, has died at age 68 after a battle with metastatic prostate cancer. Former President Trump and others are paying tribute, calling him a great influencer whose work shaped office culture and politics for decades. On Iran, the president is keeping up the pressure. He has warned Tehran that if the regime continues killing protesters and even hanging detainees, it's not going to work out good for them. With thousands already reported dead in the crackdown, That message is meant both for the mullahs and for ordinary Iranians watching to see if America will back them. Two familiar names to political insiders, Susan Kokinda and Dr. Jan Halper-Hayes, are back in the spotlight. In a new interview, they connect the Epstein network, Ukrainian corruption, and the City of London banking system, arguing that the same global interests are behind all three. Their message is simple: follow the money and you will find why the establishment fears transparency. In Iowa tonight, the governor delivers the 2026 Condition of the State address. Expect a heavy focus on tax relief, farmland, and protecting the state from federal overreach. With the Farm Belt reeling from global turmoil and trade shocks, Iowa's message is that strong families, local control, and secure borders are the foundation of its future. Alabama's Governor Ivey is also set to deliver her State of the State address. She is expected to promote tough-on-crime policies, school choice, and new industrial projects, while warning that Washington's regulations threaten energy jobs. Alabama's leadership wants voters to know they see the chaos on the coast and intend to push a very different path at home. Kansas Governor Laura Kelly takes the podium for her State of the State address with a divided electorate watching closely. Budget fights, education standards, and rural hospital closures are top concerns. The governor will try to sell her vision of steady incremental government, while critics argue that the times call for bold cuts, election security, and firm borders. In Detroit, President Trump sat down for an extended interview with CBS's Tony DeCouple after his economic speech. The president used the time to hammer globalism, praise American auto workers, and defend his tariffs as a weapon for Main Street, not Wall Street. He also tied border security, inflation, and manufacturing revival together as one fight for national survival. The Labor Department is pushing a clear message: embrace Americanism. In new public statements, officials argue that pro-worker, pro-industry policies are finally reshoring factories and raising wages. They contrast that with decades of bipartisan globalism that shipped jobs to China and hollowed out the heartland, and they insist this time the benefits must reach working families first. At Joint Base Andrews, President Trump paused to take shouted questions from the press before boarding Air Force One. He defended his handling of Iran, praised law enforcement operations against fraud and illegal immigration, and again blasted the Federal Reserve for keeping rates too high. The exchange was brief but combative, underscoring the open conflict between the White House and legacy media. Sheen White. New reporting shows some migrant welfare recipients are sending taxpayer-funded benefits overseas to organizations tied to terror groups. Lawmakers are demanding strict vetting, full audits, and an immediate halt to payments where abuse is found. For Americans already angry about rising costs, the idea that their taxes could be subsidizing foreign extremists is politically explosive. Iran's foreign minister is trying to spin the nationwide uprising as Daesh-style crimes and a U.S.-Israeli plot, rather than a genuine revolt. That claim comes as independent estimates say thousands of protesters have been killed and many more jailed. Tehran wants to brand its own citizens as terrorists. Protesters insist they are simply demanding basic freedom and an end to tyranny. The First Lady, Melania Trump, will headline Zoom Ahead AI for Tomorrow's Leaders, a massive K-12 event hosted on Zoom. From the White House, she plans to talk about using artificial intelligence responsibly, creatively, and confidently. The program is backed by a multi-million-dollar corporate commitment to AI education, signaling a serious push to prepare American kids for an AI-driven economy.
Every voice matters. The power of free speech is more important than ever. Imagine a place where you can share your thoughts freely, explore new ideas, and engage in meaningful conversations anonymously. With online anonymity, you can express yourself without fear of judgment. It's about freedom, creativity, and connection. Join the conversation that matters. Embrace your voice. Celebrate your freedom. Visit 8kun.top today. That's 8kun.top.
All reports can be found on Q Research or Qnotables.com. Notables do not equal endorsements. We are researchers who deal in open source information, reasoned argument, and dank memes. We do battle in the sphere of ideas and ideas only. We neither need nor condone the use of force in our work here.
From the Q Research Board's January 14, 2025. Conservative strategist Stephen Miller is sounding the alarm over Minneapolis, calling the unrest there a sophisticated insurgency run by radical left-wing operators. He argues this is not random chaos, but an organized effort to undermine policing, flood the system with crime, and intimidate political opponents. That framing will likely fuel calls for a stronger federal response and more prosecutions. Online activists are highlighting Delta Watch for January 14th, drawing attention to past drops and posts they believe line up with today's events. Their goal is to show patterns in headlines about Iran, digital ID, and elite corruption. Whether viewers buy it or not, this kind of timeline tracking is keeping a large, highly engaged audience focused and alert. The administration has formally labeled several branches of the Muslim Brotherhood as terrorist organizations. That designation increases pressure on their fundraising, travel, and political front groups. Supporters say it is long overdue recognition of the Brotherhood's role in Islamist networks. Critics, mostly abroad and in legacy media, warn it will upset the diplomatic status quo in the Middle East. A senior U.S. official has issued a blunt warning to Australian Prime Minister Anthony Albanese over sweeping new hate speech laws. Washington is signaling that criminalizing speech and policing thought in the name of tolerance is a red line. The message is that Western allies should be defending free expression, not importing soft totalitarian controls dressed up as civil rights. A new list circulating online calls out the 10 most embarrassing moments from Michigan politicians over the past year. From soft on crime decisions to fawning over globalist agendas, critics say the list shows why voters are fed up. The compilation is being used to rally grassroots activists who want to primary weak incumbents and replace them with unapologetic America First candidates. A petition campaign against digital ID cards in the UK has officially closed without hitting its 3 million signature target, but it's still gathered well over 2.5 million names. Organizers call that proof that ordinary people do not trust centralized ID systems that track every move. They warn that if politicians ignore this pushback, the next wave of resistance will be even stronger. UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer has performed what critics call yet another humiliating U-turn on mandatory digital ID. After months of signaling hard support, his government is now backing away from firm deadlines and trying to soften the rollout. The backlash from millions who signed the anti-ID petition shows that people across the spectrum see digital ID as a tool for control, not convenience. In a sharp piece of satire, the Babylon Bee imagines the United States offering to trade its liberal women for Iranian women. Beneath the joke is a serious point: the contrast between Western activists who hate their own country and Iranian women who are literally dying for a chance at basic freedom. Humor is being used as a weapon to expose how upside-down elite culture has become. Manitoba has officially launched a digital health card, letting residents carry their provincial health coverage on a secure phone app. Paper and plastic cards remain valid, but the new system promises faster check-ins and less paperwork. The province says this is just the first step, with the digital wallet expected to hold other government IDs and documents in the future. The U.S. Navy's newest aircraft carrier, the USS John F. Kennedy, a roughly $11 billion supercarrier, is now reported as ready for full operations. After years of construction and testing, the ship will add major firepower to the fleet, with advanced launch systems and expanded air wing capacity. In a time of rising conflict with China and Iran, this is a serious boost to American sea power. Exiled Iranian Crown Prince Reza Pahlavi is warning that the death toll from Iran's latest protests may already be 4 times the number killed on 9/11. He estimates at least 12,000 dead and is begging the world to stop treating the regime as legitimate. His message to Western leaders is blunt: you cannot claim to support human rights while doing business with mass murderers. Denmark has quietly played a key role in maritime enforcement, providing support to U.S. efforts to intercept sanctioned oil tankers. Working alongside American forces, Danish assets have helped track and assist in the seizure of ships moving illicit crude. It is a reminder that serious allies still matter when you are trying to choke off funding to hostile regimes. Meta is laying off more than 1,000 workers in its Reality Labs division and shutting several VR game studios, while pouring money into AI and wearables instead. Mark Zuckerberg's once-hyped metaverse push has burned tens of billions with little public interest. Now, the company is betting that AI-powered glasses and tools will succeed where virtual worlds failed. Thread number 29390 itself has become a kind of live archive, where citizen reporters are cataloging all these stories under the banner of law and order. It bundles together clips on Iran, digital ID, fraud, and economic warfare into one rolling log. For viewers who want more than headlines, it serves as a starting point for deeper digging and independent research.
Don'tDeleteMeBro.com. 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 Share the site with others. Don'tDeleteMeBro.com. 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 Share the site with others. Don'tDeleteMeBro.com.
That's all for now. Stay alert, stay informed, and never hand your thinking over to anyone on a screen, including me. God bless you, God bless our troops, and God bless the United States of America. See you soon.